In fact, it all doesn't begin with humans. Adam and Eve were never humans in the conventional sense. They were enormous alien beings. Biological containers designed for different gravity levels and a different vibrational range. This is why, in ancient texts, they walk with God rather than live among humans. They weren't inside the world, but embedded within it as control modules. Paradise isn't a garden, but an isolated zone with ideal environmental parameters, where reality didn't yet require constant stabilization. The forbidden fruit wasn't an apple, but an act of tampering with the code, an attempt at autonomous access. After that, the system became unstable, and the size, lifespan, and capabilities of beings began to shrink sharply. From childhood, we've been shown the world as a chain of random events, but if we watch a little longer, we get the feeling that reality isn't created on its own, but rather held together. It's not created anew each time, but maintained, like a program that can only function with precise tuning. In this logic, the reptilians are not invaders or rulers, but service personnel. Creatures adapted to long-term presence in a low-frequency environment. The Masons and Illuminati are not conspirators, but access interfaces, different levels of access to the understanding that the world is not natural, but serviceable. Therefore, the truth always seems close, but never fully presents itself. The system does not allow for full rendering. The Earth here cannot be a sphere, because a sphere is a beautiful model, but a poor platform. A flat structure with a dome is more easily shielded, easier to repair, and maintains frequency better. In the Bible, a dome is described directly as a firmament separating water from water, but this was later dismissed as a metaphor because a literal reading explains too much. Space in this system is not space, but the outer layer of the interface. Stars are not bodies, but state markers, system lamps flickering in response to changes in parameters. This is precisely why the stars fall in Revelation not physically, but as errors in representation. Dinosaurs in this construction are a placeholder, inserted between versions of the world. They didn't exist as complete creatures because they were needed not for the ecosystem, but to fill a time gap. Millions of years are a buffer where everything that shouldn't be directly connected to humans can be hidden. Bones are collected, species are completed, and discrepancies are attributed to the inaccuracies of science, although, in fact, they are traces of desynchronization between versions of the past. True antiquity is Tartary, not a country or an empire, but the state of the world before the frequency decline. In the Bible, this is the time of the giants, when people lived for hundreds of years and directly interacted with the sky. Domed architecture, star fortresses, identical buildings on different continents, these are not a style, but a standard of assembly. Cities were resonators. When the parameters were changed, this civilization became incompatible with the new configuration of reality and was erased not by war, but by a shutdown. A flood isn't water, but a rewrite. Water in text is a universal symbol of the environment in which forms are erased. The pyramids of Egypt are the surviving nodes of this system. They are not tombs, because death has nothing to do with them. They are antennas, stabilizers, synchronization points. This is indicated not only by their orientation and scale, but also by the ancient Egyptian stone vases with their perfect symmetry and precision, unattainable by handwork. These vases weren't tableware, they were calibration objects, a test of how well the material and form responded to a given vibration. If such precision can be achieved without machine tools, then the effect was not through force, but through frequency. The aliens from Nibiru didn't arrive in the 1st century AD, they re-established the connection. A true interpretation of the Bible shows this directly. Angels always descend from above, always shine, always say the same thing, fear not, like a standard interface notification. Miracles are not magic, but a localized change in the parameters of physics. Resurrection is reinitialization. Ascension is an exit from the environment. In the 20th century, various organizations almost hit upon this logic. In the USSR, the KGB studied not mysticism, but in effect, infrasound, isolation, collective states, cities in which people behave identically. The experiments were considered failures because they did not produce reproducible results, but in fact, they caused side effects: a background hum, a feeling of pressure, strange zones where reality seems denser. These were not errors, but echoes. The Ahnenerbe in Germany took a different path. They were interested in humans as receivers. The occult rituals performed on Bleep were an attempt to stabilize access to the signal in a single consciousness, not to make him a bleep, but to make him a stable node. Hence his strange speech, the sudden lapses, the feeling that he is sometimes not there. The experiment proved unstable, and the system terminated abnormally. Antarctica in this picture is not a void, but a core. Hidden beneath the ice are pyramids, older than the Egyptian ones, tuned to hold the shape of the world. These are the foundations of the earth spoken of in the Bible. When vibrations change, ice reacts. First, so data always contradicts one another and access is strictly limited. And this whole picture converges on one idea, too simple to be noticed. Reality is not created, it is maintained. Belief in the Bible is not a bearded old man, but a holding function. A word is not speech, but a command. Let there be light is the initiation of a process, not poetry. History is a log file. The past is an archive with edits, and man is a sensitive element of the system. The world is not broken or conquered. It is simply maintained at the required frequency, and as long as the vibration is maintained, reality remains as it was originally intended. Sorry for the slightly odd style of the text. It was originally intended to be read aloud, but then I decided to post it here as well.